The state of the economy is something everybody knows. It's an open secret. Everybody knows that the economy is in tatters.
Today, my guest is Kamil Bamanpong, and he is a political wing leader of CODE57, that is Coordination 1957. He's the president of Dagbon Students Association, University of Ghana, and a final year student of University of Ghana. Today, we want to look at the youth perspective when it comes to Ghana's economy. You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's what your name is. Hey, it's a nice name.
Yeah, it's a nice name. It has a nice meaning too.
Oh, interesting. What does it mean?
Yeah. Bamanpong means we don't only fight with strength, but with the brain as well.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I love it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
So welcome to Broad Daylight.
Thank you.
So as I earlier stated, we are going to talk about the current state of Ghana's economy. But before that, tell me about Coordination 57. What is it about?
Coordination 1957, or called CODE57, is a youth movement that seeks to empower the youth and then bring them together as a united body, so we can have a common voice. That is all CODE57 is about. So everything CODE57 does is centered on the youth. We are trying to become the voice of the youth, to present the youth as a united body, as a unique body that fights for what the youth wants or stands for. So we are basically the voice of the youth. Yes.
Sure. Interesting. Yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Ghana?
In terms of
economy, currently?
5 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
5
out of 10. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So from where you sit, how do you see the current state of Ghana's economy?
Well, it's an obvious fact that the state of the economy is something everybody knows. It's an open secret. Everybody knows that the economy is in tatters. We are currently experiencing an economic woo that is hitting everybody here and there. So for me, I think it's not something that is hidden. Everybody knows that. Market women, students, workers, everybody is aware that we are currently experiencing an economic crisis. Yeah. And it's largely based on some policies and also some actions from the government, and also a part of it from the citizens of the country.
Okay, so let's start from the policies. Which policies are we talking about here?
Okay, some policies such as free SHS was rushed.
Isn't it a good initiative?
It's a very good initiative.
But what makes
There's no doubt about that. It's a very good initiative. There's no doubt about that. But it was rushed. And you can see that because it was rushed, a lot of resources are being siphoned there. A lot of resources. In a way, neglecting some sectors. So areas like industrialization should have been focused on before coming to free senior high school. The free SHS policy is a very good one. That we don't really want to be talking about the bad side of it so much, so that it makes it look like a bad policy. It is a very good policy, but timing is also very important.
So which
very important.
Year do you think it would have been best for government to implement such policies?
Well, there's no specific year here, but then it would have been best to be implemented at the time industrialization in a country would be something to write home about, where would have the youth having something to do on their own, where those who enjoy the free SHS come out and they don't sit at homes in their home doing nothing. That is the time would have been able to implement free SHS freely, smoothly.
Look at the kind of things we study in the schools, or to blame infrastructure, because I believe that if we still have infrastructure and then people or the students coming out from the various schools are not matching up to what is expected of them in the industry, they'll still be sitting at home. So
that is why we don't only depend on what is taught in class. We have internships, we have the national service in place. All these things are to give students experience as to what they should expect in the workforce. So if after all these things students come out, they graduate in their various fields or areas, and they still have to sit in the house, I don't think this would have been the time, the perfect time to implement free SHS.
So now government is actually looking for either a cancellation or a review of the free SHS policy. What is your take on it? What should he do now that you are saying it came in a wrong timing? What can the government do to make sure that it falls back on track?
Okay, so from where I sit, I don't support cancellation. Okay. I support a review. Okay. And my reason is that the thing has already happened. The policy has already been rolled out. People have enjoyed it. It's been years now. It should continue, but there should be a review. And the review should start from how they roll students onto the program or the policy. Everybody, as it stands now, every student moving from GHS3 to SHS is bound to enjoy free SHS. And that is, to my point of view, very wrong. We should have a cut-off point, something like a scholarship, where we say, look, from this grade to this grade, if you fall within those grades, then you enjoy free SHS. Go back to our junior high schools currently, and I saw students are no longer actively participating in classwork and everything, because they know even when you graduate with aggregate 45, there's free SHS waiting for you. You are coming to enjoy free SHS. But then, if these things were put in place, one, it would allow the free SHS we are talking about so greatly to be implemented smoothly, and also instill some discipline and seriousness in our students. So we'll be achieving two things at the same time: seriousness in students and also free SHS happening. But as it stands now, everybody is enrolled in the system. Anyone coming from JHS3 is enjoying free SHS. So they don't really care. They don't really care much about the education. And any country that is heading towards a fall or crisis starts from education.
I'm not trying to catch you from what you're saying, but looking at seriousness of students and making sure we put some measures to maybe a cut-off point, the policy you're talking about. I'm also of the view that we all have different IQ levels. Yeah. And students, some of them, when they are growing, their minds become kind of open to the things around them. And it's like we've encouraged this kind of chew and pour system for a very long time. So don't you think that when what you are suggesting is implemented, students will now be like, okay, let me just learn chew and pour and pass and forget. After all, I'll have to get my way and get it onto the scholarship board. Now we still have students who come out with empty heads because they thought that let me just chew and pour, pass and forget, and just get rolled onto the policy. So why are we not rather trying to see the curriculum, what we are teaching the students, to be able to bring up generational thinkers other than the policy? Can something be done?
Yeah, so already the educational system of Ghana is nothing to write home about. You see the government roll out a new curriculum without textbooks. What are the teachers going to use in classrooms? They've done workshops all around, but there are no textbooks to teach in classrooms. So for me, I think the educational system is something we should sit back and plan, go back to the drawing table and plan very well how we should direct our educational system. Because like I said, if a country should fall, then it starts with the educational sector. So I think we should begin to practicalize what we are doing in classrooms rather than center it on exam. But then I brought in the cutoff point because of my earlier statement that we need to review the free SHS. But then if we are looking at the content of our educational sector, then we have to review everything right from the beginning, where we don't let the children know that or we don't make it seem to the children that it is exam they must pass, because they must pass before they are deemed as people who have succeeded or brilliant in school. We must practicalize things. let the child bring out whatever is in him or her. Let the child do his or her own thing. It's not like someone has gone to compound theories and all that, and the child now has to put everything in his or her head and then go and produce it in an hour or two, and then you deem such a child brilliant or intelligent. We can take a paradigm, we can shift from that, we can move, and then we can give a clear-cut direction for our educational sector. That is the only way we can reform the whole educational sector.
Okay, now a quick one for we move from education. Now you are a final year student of University of Canada. So I believe you meet your colleagues, you see your colleagues. How is the future like? Is it kind of the normal true and poor system, or you are coming out different students altogether?
Yeah, the future is scary. The future is scary. If it continues like this, it will be scarier. Yes. It's still the true and poor system, but then in the university, as it is called, you have the liberty as a student to equip yourself before you are graduated by the university. So the university will present to you a true and poor system, but it is left onto you to present back to the university what you can do. So for me, I'm much particular about skills. Yes, you learn some skill as a student so that when you graduate, you have something to rely on. But then if you don't do that and you depend on whatever you are being taught in the classroom, sometimes some lecturers teach you stuff which you see not reflecting even in them. So it means that they are actually not practical. They are not stuff that can be practicalized in the real world. So he's just teaching you because he has to. Yes, he has to teach you. He's the lecturer and you are the student, so he has to pass that knowledge to you. But then it's not really practicable. Sometimes our cultural systems, our social system do not allow such things to be practicalized, and so we are just taught. Another batch of students come, they are taught. The other batch come, they are taught in that order. So we are just being churned out like that every year with the same information, with the same knowledge. And knowledge, if it doesn't change, nothing can change. Or if you don't build up on the knowledge you have, if it is the same knowledge you pass on every year, nothing changes. That is why research is good. You do research, you find new knowledge, you add to what you already know, and then you practicalize it. So for me, the university is not a place you should go expecting that you'll be equipped very well. I'm talking about the Ghanaian setting. Elsewhere it might be different. I'm talking about the Ghanaian setting. So if you go to a university in Ghana and you expect that you come out well equipped, I don't think you are going to meet your expectation. So go to university, learn whatever they have to offer you, but then take it as a responsibility, a sole responsibility to develop yourself personally. Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, away from education, now the majority in Parliament is saying that the reason why we are facing kind of wars in the country is because their colleagues, the minority, is not actually giving a head to them to come to a consensus on how the economy should be looking at when it comes to quorums. What is your take on this?
Well, when it comes to Parliament, I would say that extreme partisanship has set in the Honorable House of Parliament. So whatever decision they are taking, it is influenced by partisanship. And then that house shouldn't be so. It should be a place where Ghanaian values are held in high esteem, where they put the country first, where they make decisions based on the effect it's going to have on the country, where they are nationalistic. They make sure that whatever decision they are taking is going to be in the interest of the ordinary Ghanaian, not some group of Ghanaians. So they don't make decisions to favor the elites or the rich in the society. I think they should make decisions to favor the ordinary Ghanaian. That is how I say it. So the Parliament of Ghana is currently experiencing a state where extreme partisanship is valued more than the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian. So there's a bill or something like that on Parliament ongoing where they have to contribute, pass it to in the interest of the ordinary Ghanaian. But once someone comes and say, hey, look, if we do this, it's going to affect us in the next election. If you do this, it's going to do this. If I'm in an opposition and then I help the ruling government to implement a policy that is going to affect the ordinary Ghanaian positively, then it's just like stabbing myself in the back. Because in the next election, it's going to empower the person. And then the ruling government also sees it this way. If I bring in this policy and not this one, it's going to be advantageous to me in the next election. So everything is about the next election. Everything is about the next election. Nobody's really talking about the current state of the country and how the ordinary Ghanaians' plight is. Nobody really cares about that.
So is Parliament failing us as a country?
I would say so. Parliament is failing us as a country.
Okay.
As long as there's partisanship in there, like extreme partisanship. I mean, we have majority made up of NPP and minority made up of NDC. That's fine. That's good for business.
What is your general overview of the 8th Parliament? Because we've had a whole lot of Parliament settings. Now we are at the 8th Parliament where we have 137, and then one independent. Previously, we would have the majority having the major side of Parliament.
Numbers, yeah.
Now,
yeah.
What is your take on this current 8th Parliament?
Personally, I was very happy when I realized it was a hung Parliament we had in the 8th Parliament.
Great.
I was happy because I thought it was going to be, I thought we were now getting into the era where the real issues will be discussed. Because if you have a hung Parliament, it's not like always the majority will have their way because they have the numbers. Whether it's a bad bill or good, it's a bad policy or not, they'll find their way to pass it. So I was particularly happy about this case because it was a hung Parliament. Now they would have to digest issues very well. And before a bill is passed, then it must be a good bill.
Is that not what they are doing?
Well, they could say that is what they are doing, but there's kind of, like I said earlier, some partisanship in there, which nobody wants to boldly talk about.
Is it that there is kind of partisanship somewhere, or is because of the Supreme Court ruling? You know, it came earlier that they were debating on who, whether the deputy speaker or a deputy speaker had the right to vote in the absence of the main speaker. Now it was sent to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court, per what we heard from Parliament, had to, in a way, breach the standing orders of Parliament. Now, if things goes to Parliament, a minority is saying that you have to go, we are going to treat it according to the order of the Supreme Court. Do you think our judicial system has failed Parliament when it comes to our democracy?
Well, I wouldn't be able to talk much about the Supreme Court's ruling because they are the custodians of the law and they know what they are doing. But coming on the back of what Honorable Cletus Aveji said some days ago, he said that sometimes they need a quorum or a certain number to make decisions, but then they overlook these laws because they are the masters of their own laws. Exactly. And so because they want the country to move forward, they sometimes overlook these things. They don't really need to get the 138 before they make decisions. But then now that the Supreme Court is saying so and so, they have to go back to look at their laws strictly. So when the law says there must be 108 parliamentarians before you can make a decision, then they must go by that.
So is it that the judicial system is what has failed our parliamentary democracy?
Honestly, every sector of the country has failed the country. Every sector of the country has failed the country. The judicial system is not an exception. I hold the view that the president's power to appoint Supreme Court judges is something we should review. Because it's whether we like it or not, there is some level of interest here. If I am appointing you, to do my bidding in a way. So if something is presented before me and I look at it, I'm the judge here. I'm the judge. So at the end of the day, I have the ultimate decision to make. So I'm not saying that that is what is happening, but for me, the president's power to appoint judges is something we should look at. There should be a system where judges are appointed or picked. It's not about what the Western world is doing. It's about what fits well for our country. They should review that. Look at a way to appoint judges without the influence of any person in the executive arm of government. Tomorrow, Akufo-Addo may not be, His Excellency Akufo-Addo may not be the president of Ghana. And another person who may not be coming from the MPP party would be the president. He also has the right to appoint.
You'll come and pack the court.
Plenty of them. So some days ago, lawyer Sosu was saying that that thing can't work. It can't work. If we should follow that, then at the end of the day, we are going to have hundreds of Supreme Court judges, because presidents will come and presidents will go. But if you have a system of appointing Supreme Court judges, one, there's going to be that neutralization he's talking about. That system will neutralize everything, because nobody's going to influence that system. The system will not be under any influence. But if we keep allowing the presidents to appoint, definitely wherever a human is appointing, there is interest. Because you are not the only person who qualified, but they are appointing you. Why do you think they are appointing you? And if you look at the current number of Supreme Court judges we have, and then geographic representation, you realize that the whole country is not well represented. The whole country is not well represented. But if there is a system, we can develop the system in such a way that the whole country is well represented geographically. So it's not like one party is coming and is appointing this number of people here, not appointing this number of people. But then that is where we are as a country.
So you support that there should be a reform when it comes to our judicial system?
Yes, there should be a reform.
Mahama is calling for.
There should be a reform. It's not because former President Mahama is calling for that reform, but it is necessary. There should be a reform in the judicial sector, in educational sector, every sector of that plays a role in the economy of the country. Okay. There should be a reform, yes.
Okay, so now government has implemented policies. You know, they think about us so much that they are implementing policies to making sure that the economy is revamped or revived. Have you heard some of them?
Yeah, I've heard some of them. But then I think is perhaps is the ordinary way, or is the ways of the ordinary Ghanaian politician to only wait after the damage to come and do damage controls. So for me, it's good. I've gone through some of them, and it's good if well implemented. It will help in bringing back the economy on track. But then, why do we have to wait till we get to this point where we say that we are going to cut salaries of government appointees, cut fuel coupons by 50%? The question is, if you knew that if you had cut fuel coupons by 50%, it would help the economy, what took you so long? Why did you have to wait till the economy is in tatters before you come and say that, okay, your conferences and everything, you are going to cut expenses on all those? It means that you are admitting that you were spending so much on your conferences, on your fuels and everything, and now you feel like if you cut them off, the economy is going to come back on track. So for me, I think they are doing damage control, though it's a positive direction they are taking. If well implemented, it's going to help the economy.
You know, one thing that struck me in this whole thing, one point they made in their submission was that the government is planning to conclude measures to eliminate ghost workers from government's payroll. I keep on asking myself, so you know that there are ghost workers who are taking salaries for no work done. So why hasn't this been done a long time?
That is a question begging for answers. I think that it all boils down to the failure of the system I'm talking about. These ghost names issue is not something that has just started. It's been there, and we all know it's been there, but no deliberate step has been taken to kind of solve this, always we know that there are goat names and they are draining the economy, because you are paying someone who is not even there. Another person is taking the money. We know these things. There could be deliberate systems put in place to flash out these names. But then if government, who has the necessary tools and has the power to do some of these things, are complaining, then we have failed. We have failed. We have truly failed, because the government is opportune to have the tools and everything necessary to fight these things, and then they come back to complain to us. I see it to be a failure.
Okay, so going forward, do you think that e-levy is a messiah?
It's funny how e-levy has become our messiah. I think we didn't have to get to this point. Yes, we didn't have to get to this point. I don't know what informed the bringing up of such a policy, but then it shouldn't be our messiah. It shouldn't be our messiah. I think a lot of reforms have to be done, and if they are done properly and solely in the interest of the country, we won't need e-levy. We won't need e-levy. Before 2020 elections, we didn't have e-levy. So what was the country living on? What was the government living on? Let me put it that way. What was their source of income? What was their source of spending? So it's not like now e-levy is the messiah, as they are putting it. The finance minister suggested it that way. That it's because the e-levy has met some constraints in being passed. A lot of government structures have been, in a way, difficult to run. So they are going to encourage that Parliament passes the e-levy so that it can smoothen stuff in government. I don't think that should have been the point we should have got into, because it's a failure to say that e-levy must be passed because it's the messiah. No, it's a failure, because there are a lot of things that could have been done before thinking about e-levy. E-levy is a good policy. We shouldn't betray that fact. But then we are looking at how it's going to be implemented, how the effect is going to be. The ordinary Ghanaian is already not employed. He's sending his 50 cedis, 100 cedis to his mother or father in the village, and you are taxing that one too. So it's going to be very difficult for the ordinary Ghanaian. So it means that you are compounding the person's plight. You are kind of increasing the plight of the person is already going through. The person is doing some here and there to get something to feed, and the ordinary Ghanaian transacts in this Momo stuff and all that, and then coming to tax it is going to be a very big blow on the ordinary Ghanaian. So everything has to be well thought out. And then the other thing about the e-levy is that the ordinary Ghanaian is not confident about where the money is going to go to. They're not confident.
They are going to be very transparent with us.
Why haven't they been transparent with other source of income of the country? So it's not like you've been doing that and now they are questioning you and you are referring them back to that. You've not been doing it. So, and it's not only this government. Governments have come and governments have gone. So it's been the same story. Nobody's transparent. So it will not be a very good message that they will accept. They will not accept it because you've not been doing so. So if you are coming to say that you are going to be transparent with it, you spend it this way, let Ghanaians know, blah blah blah, it's not going to be something that the Ghanaian will be ready to take. But then not also accepting or passing the bill has a blow on the economy. That is not something we should not also overlook. Low investor confidence, because investors are watching. It's like the government is not able to transact its own businesses within the country. So there is no confidence the investor is coming with. So There's low investor confidence, and when that happens, it blows, it hits the economy just like it is right now. So I think there should be a consensus. Minority and majority have to come together, deliberate, talk about the advantages and disadvantages of the e-levy, moderate it. If it's something that must be implemented, then they must moderate it to alleviate a little the plight is going to have on the consequences and effects is going to have on the ordinary Ghanaian. And then we'll be good to go.
Interesting. Yeah. We'll be good to go. What will be your final words as we wrap up?
Yeah. So I want to use this opportunity to plead on the government to follow religiously what they have put out to do. They should further, I think 50% is even still way high. They should cut it off. They should cut it way down. If they can live with 50% fuel coupon, it means that they can live with 30% too. They should cut it well off so that the ordinary Ghanaian can believe in them, that they are doing something, because the living standards are so high. Ordinary people can't fend for themselves again. When you go to Medina Market or Makola Market, you can't buy anything again. Yes, your 50 cedis can't do anything.
It will just transport you.
Yes, only transportation. Yes. So they should consider the plight of Ghanaians. They should be nationalistic here. I don't mean they shouldn't be global citizens, but they should be nationalistic first. Consider the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian. Consider it, or the interest of the ordinary Ghanaian in their dealings and in their decisions and everything. I think the economy will turn around. We hope so. Yeah.
Interesting. My guest for today was Kamil Bamanpong. I hope I got the name right.
Yeah, you got it.
That's what his name is. Okay, so he's a political wing leader for Code 57, Coordination 1957. He's also the president of Dagon Student Association of the University of Ghana, and also a final year student of University of Ghana. He spoke about the youth perspective when it comes to Ghana's economy. He has said a whole lot, and I believe that if the government is watching us, he has to take these steps to making sure that the economy gets where it ought to be. My name is Prismore. This is Broad Daylight, CMGA TV. Follow us on Instagram, CMGA TV, Facebook, CMGA TV, Twitter, CMGA TV, and YouTube on CMGA TV. Our website is www.cmonline.com.gh. My costume is proudly sponsored by Greta Collections. She says look good inside and out. On another episode of Broad Daylight. Bye.